I've been a part of many different types of competitions, but none like this. Everyone is at a different part of where their program is at. We're all trying to grow and develop the sport of men's gymnastics, and we all have very big that we're trying to reach. But I always loved about getting the opportunity to compete is this is a checkpoint and a building block for your long-term goals. And what I learned throughout my whole competitive journey is how to enjoy the journey. And so I want you guys to take this moment to celebrate all the hard work you guys have put into it. Have some fun. Use this amazing crowd we have in front of us. And it's a wonderful competition.
Thank you. Now please stand if you're able and remove your hats as we honor our nation and flag with the playing of the national anthem by Mr. Pete Graber.
All right, we are live. Welcome to the 2024 Sam McCulloch Invitational hosted by EVO Gymnastics in Sarasota, Florida. My name is Carlos Ojeda. I'm an elite gymnast, coach, judge, and two-time Virtius commentator, accompanied by gymnastics coach and fellow Virtius commentator Jim Holt. Jim, pleasure to join you. How are you doing today?
Hey, Carlos. It's great to be here. Great to be here with you. I have to agree that I have to say Pete Graber's harmonica national anthem was really wonderful. Brings to mind maybe Sonny Boy Williamson's Blowing on the Pipes. I'd also like to point out that this is a wonderful event. First time for our isn't a memorial because he's not dead yet, but Mr. Sam McCulloch had some really eloquent words to kick us off. He pointed out that everybody here is in a different place gymnastically. There's so many different levels, so many different individual stories. We're going to get into a number of them throughout this evening. And he told the competitors that it's really important to enjoy the journey. So, Carlos, I'm looking forward to a really great ride with you on the microphone tonight.
Me too, Jim. This is going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to go ahead and announce the coaches today. So for EVO Athletics, we have Mr. Syke Caesar, former Olympic Training Center coach, and Sam McCulloch, obviously the man of the hour, the man whose competition this is. Here we have a bunch of awesome college teams coming together to compete with the elites. And yeah, I'm very excited for this.
Let me jump in here real quickly.
Go for it.
Let me jump in here real quickly. Syke Caesar was not only a gymnast for the University of Michigan, but he was an Olympian representing the country of Bangladesh.
That's true. He was an Olympian for Bangladesh, was an awesome gymnast for Michigan. And yeah, now he's doing great things for the United States program over at EVO Athletics. And over here we have number 3 in the Big Ten, the University of Illinois, with coming off a team high of 413.8. That kind of shocked the world whenever they beat Michigan earlier this season. That was a nail biter of a competition, to say the least. They were leading Michigan the whole way, and yeah, this is going to be an exciting competition for them. I'm excited to see how they do on the elite scene. They are coached by Daniel Ribeiro and Don Osborne.
We saw them a couple of weeks ago with Greenville.
That's right. Yeah, that was our first competition together. That was a lot of fun. And now looking at the other Division III team, we have Simpson College, number 4 in the ECAC. And they came off of a high of 376.35. They seem to be building meet after meet, just like Greenville. So it's nice to see these 2 freshly minted teams going up and yeah, continuing to build on their season. They're coached by Colin Payne, Matt Reitz, and Rogelio Vasquez. All right, and here we have a full view of all the events happening at once. Looks like some of the guys are still warming up. We have a gymnast from Florida Storm going, and some individual athletes as well. I forgot to mention that we also have Georgia United, a Gymact program, also competing tonight. Again, Florida Storm from Florida, and yes, Simpson College, Illinois, and EVO Athletics. I think we're going to go ahead and start by commentating this high bar routine. Seeing an awesome one-arm giant. Going in, gearing up for a major release. Let's see what we got here. Massive Kovacs. It's got to feel awesome on that speed high bar. Going through his long hang elements. Nice little cross turn. Going right into the front giants here. Nice jam to handstand. A little bit of a slide of the hands going into the L grip giants. Here we are, winding up for the last dismount. That was a huge tucked half and half out. And we're going to go ahead and... Yeah, go on, Jim. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I hope everybody just kind of relaxes and enjoys the ride here this evening. Because we've got 6 events going on at a time, it's going to be difficult in many ways for Carlos and I to be able to identify each and every athlete, but we're going to do our best. I believe that's the Florida Storm on horizontal bar. So that first gymnast did a great job, and you don't see a lot of Kovacs from a first year program that they've put together for the Gymact part of our men's program.
You know, Jim, I'm going to have to correct you on that one. That's actually Gymnastics Olympica over there on high bar. Florida Storm is actually on the floor exercise. But if we look at the bottom left, I think, if I'm seeing that correctly, that looks like Cameron Bach on parallel bars, and he is doing a massive parallel bar set right now. That was a huge Bob Czar. Transitioning to a big pirouette. Let's see what we got next. Nice to belt, just a bit of a little struggle on the catch. Winding up. Massive double pike dismount. I did not know he made the jump over to EVO. That is great for him, joining that elite program, being around some of the best guys in the nation, trying to, fight for a spot on that Olympic team later this year. All right, looking on floor, it's from Florida Storm. Doing some pirouetting elements. Right into some cartwheels. Lining up for his dismount as well. Let's see what we got here. Oh, huge 2.5 from Florida Storm. Very good finish to that routine.
And I'm looking at the bottom right-hand corner, and that's one of the University of Illinois guys, I believe. Just finished his ring set with a very clean double-double. One small
No
step.
kidding. He stomped that double-double, Jim. That was pretty impressive. All right, and on high bar, we have an athlete from Gymnastics Olympica doing some awesome in-bar skills, winding up for his dismount. Whoa, huge double-double laid out. Pretty good for a junior athlete.
and a windmill stick from one of our athletes from Simpson who just finished his pirouetting direct Stockley handstand dismount. And it looks like Shane Wiskus is up on parallel bars. Carlos, when he gets up there, why don't you talk us through Shane's routine down on the bottom left of the screen?
Absolutely. I think I see one of the EVO athletes on the junior side getting ready to salute his routine on parallel bars right now. He might be going before Shane. See Shane chalking up down there. Let's see. Bit stressful waiting for the judges to salute you, don't you think, Jim?
Well, I actually competed at a modest level for 20 years, and I was never not nervous.
Whoa, that was an awesome bobsar. You looked like a flying squirrel on that catch. That was ginormous. Let's see what we got. A nice Diamidov. Got a little hung up there, but worked out of it pretty well. Good long swing to huge legs up on that to belt. Nice, easy, moist support swing handstand. Looks like there's a bit of an error on the matting situation. Coach Sergey being vigilant and moving that for his athlete.
Let's go.
Finishing up. Big front uprise. Whoa! Huge double front stick. That was an awesome parallel bar set. Him and his teammates are hyped.
Kind of a miss there on the high bar. The gentleman will remount, but it's interesting, Carlos, for many of our viewers, some of the names of the skills can be very confusing. On that last parallel bar routine, you mentioned a bobjar, a Diamidov, and a Tapelt. And those skills are named after gymnasts who actually did them first in international competition. Sven Tapelt was a German in the 80s when Germany was still divided into East and West. Sergei Diamidov was a Soviet gymnast in the 60s, and Raj Bobjar, of course, is an American who was on the 2008 Olympic team.
That is correct. The 2008 Olympic team was reserved for the 2004 Olympic team as well. See this gymnast bounce back on high bar, connecting some massive Tkachevs after that fall. That was huge. It's all blind change connected right into an Indo. Indo is the straddled in-bar skill that gymnast just did. Here we have it going from back giants, a Stalder. Winding up for the dismount. Another massive laid-out double-double. Good finish for the junior.
Endo, of course, named after the 1964 Olympic all-around champion Yukio Endo. And if we get a dead spot, I'll tell you an Endo story sometime a little bit later in the competition there, Carlos.
For sure. All right. One of the men that I am most excited to watch tonight is Mr. Shane Wiskus. I think he's getting ready to salute this parallel bar set. Shane competed for the University of Minnesota throughout his undergraduate career and is a 2021 Olympic team member for Team USA, and he's looking to make his second Olympic team.
He also, as a collegian, has a both accomplished and at the same time dubious claim to fame, which we'll mention when he finishes his exercise.
Legs getting the shoulders warmed up. Bit of downtime right now for some of these athletes. Here we go, Mr. Shane Wiskus starting his parallel bar routine. Good drop cast mount to Hamna, done beautifully. I swear that guy never misses that skill. Awesome Makuts, great extension. Great extension on the Healy as well.
Yes, sir.
Nice drop into that peach, good pike compression. Perfect long swing right into a giant with a half turn. Sorry, giant salto with a half turn to upper arm, pardon me. Another nice Diamidov. Massive front uprise. Just straddle 1 1/4.
Come on, Shane. Let's go.
Nice to pelt towards the end. Let's see how this man finishes up. Huge front uprise, double front. Oh, unlucky landing. So close. Just needed to overcook it just a bit more.
Yeah, Shane actually was really fascinating. He was a local kid from one of the Minneapolis suburbs, was nationally recruited, but decided he was going to stay home and represent the University of Minnesota. And as a freshman, Carlos, he finished second at the NCAA championships, just behind Joel Moldauer. And when he was a sophomore, he finished second at the NCAA championships, just behind Brody Malone, who was a freshman. And as a junior, at the University of Minnesota, where the NCAAs were being held, Shane finished second behind Brody. He was the only, there's been over 80 NCAA championships, and Shane Wiskus is the only man in history to have 3 silver medals in the all-around.
Oh my goodness, 3 silver medals back to back to back. Good guy. Looks like we have a gymnast from Simpson College redoing his dismount on pommel horse. Nice easy circle to handstand to finish up.
And for those who are interested, Shane could have very well stayed his senior year, but that happened to be an Olympic year, so he left the university to focus solely on the international program and to compete successfully, qualify to and compete at the Olympic Games in Tokyo. A little bit of a lull in the action while the judges are accumulating their scores.
If you look down in the bottom right, I think that's Mr. Ashton Anaya getting ready for his ring set.
Folks, focus on that. This guy is a beast. Defending national champion on rings.
Nice back uprise top planche. Some beautiful Yamawaki work as well. Into a back uprise Maltese. Right into the bounce cross, beautifully done. Right into the pullout. This guy just doesn't stop.
Elevator going up.
Going up again, rolling into that front giant. A lot of good gymnastics happening right now. Huge D dismount, puts it to his feet. He's going to be happy with that one. All right, and down to the bottom left, we have Mr. Brody Malone. Coming back from injury. Nice Hamna. I don't think he's going to be dismounting today. I think he's still playing it safe with some of his landings. Nice Diamidov reverse pirouette. Up into a front 1 1/4. Nice tall pirouette going into his tapelt. Pushing for that Healy, automatic. Tall Stutz handstand as well. Oh, and I was wrong. He put a massive double back to his feet.
Yeah, Brody is a 2-time NCAA all-around champion and was world champion on the high bar in 2022. You alluded to his injury. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about that, Carlos?
So Brody was at the DTV Pokal Cup in Stuttgart last year, and he was doing his normal high bar routine, was killing it all the way through, and then just pinged off to the bottom and did what looked like a double Arabian off the bar because he peeled, and he just caught his leg on the bottom and just tore a bunch of different things in his leg. I think it was 3 different ligaments, and yeah, had to get a bunch of reconstructive surgeries and has slowly been working his way back onto the elite scene again. So it's good to see him back in action and killing it. I mean, he is way ahead of schedule and he looks great.
Well, we wish him all the best. We got what, 6.5 months until the Olympic Games in Paris?
That's right. That's right. It's going to happen very soon, and I hope he's ready to go and ready to perform for Team USA by that point. I think he'll be ready on all 6 by then. I'm praying for him. All right, and over to the bottom right, we have an athlete from Illinois doing some huge Milwaukee elements. Beautiful back breast straddle L into a lock arm press. Huge double pike dismount stopped. And over in the bottom left, we have Kerr and Phillips doing some awesome front uprise work. Huge front uprise Dion right into a front uprise Makuts. Pan American champion showing everybody why he's top dog. Look at that. Huge Makuts. Huge Healy. Follow it. Automatic. Massive front 1 1/4. Job's not done yet. Dion 1 1/4. Another huge front uprise into a double front half out. Massive finish for Kurt Phillips. Teammates are hyped.
For many years, the stock dismount off P-bars was a pike double, but more and more you're seeing guys doing the front or the double front. And I really like the double front as a coach. If you've got any height, I really like the double front with a half out, because you can see the ground in a way where the double front is a blind landing. Also, educationally speaking, the Makuts is named after Bogdan Makuts, who was a Soviet gymnast in the early 80s. I think he was Olympic champion on the parallel bars. I know he has a gold medal somewhere. I don't recall exactly which event.
Oh, well, it better be on parallel bars if you're the guy who invented the Makuts. I mean, that is an animal of a skill to have named after yourself.
Are you serious?
All right, looks like we have Mr. Ian Sandoval left on parallel bars. Ian Sandoval is going to be going to the University of Illinois after this summer. Went from Woga and moved to EVO to follow his coach Sergey and finish out his training with his coach, and seemed to have paid off. Here we go. All eyes on him. Nice Hamna, the back uprise front flip. A little bit scruffy on the Makuts, but works out of it well. Oh, that was a tall Healy. Looked really nice. Good handstand hold to follow it. Very important that you hold that. Oh. Just slightly undercooked on the Dion 1 1/4. Talking to his coach, Psych Caesar, to see what the game plan is next.
I believe the word you want to use is unfortunate or unlucky in that instance.
Unfortunate, definitely. Let's see what his call is. Jumping up to support. L press handstand to get some more tenths back on the board after not getting credit for that first skill. Nice tall Dion Mastutz. Huge front uprise, double front half out, darted. Good on him for finishing strong.
That was a strong finish. And what was that dismount again? A double front with a what?
That was a double front with a half out.
Yeah, because you can see the ground and thereby making it a little easier to stick.
Every time.
Well, it looks like the athletes are rotating to our next event, and if they're going to have a one-touch, we're going to have a few minutes between now and the next routines, right, Carlos?
Yes, sir. We will have a bit of downtime in between.
Well, then let's do a 3 or 4 minute podcast on how these guys. We've talked about it coming up in a few months. Everybody knows they're going to be in Paris. You have a television or a pulse. You're aware that that's a highlight for this summer. What do you think about the road to the Olympics? How actually are the guys going to qualify? And then maybe if we have a few minutes, we can talk about what looks to be a very crowded field of American aspirants to that august event.
I couldn't agree with you more, Jim. I mean, it's going to be a dogfight to make this Olympic team, and I think that's a good problem for Team USA right now. I think this depth is unlike anything we've had in the past. I mean, we have a bunch of newcomers onto the scene who are, I mean, absolutely killing it. You have guys like Koi Young, who sprung onto the scene and killed it at his first World Championships with 3 medals in his first showing. I mean, silver on pommel horse, a silver on vaults after guarding both of his vaults in the final. And of course, the team bronze. I mean, it was great to see that America got back onto the podium after such a long drought.
Athletes, your 2-minute touch starts.
Well, I would say a couple of things. Number one, there's a bunch of old geezers who would argue that maybe 94 had a lot of depth too. And if you're a gymnastics historian, maybe you know what happened of that dogfight to get to the final 5 or 6. In the case of 1984, it was 6 guys. In 2024, it'll be 5 guys. But the Winter Cup's in 2 weeks. That's really the first major qualifier. Maybe you can enlighten our listeners, viewers, on the steps that it's going to take to make that team.
Yeah, so first, as you mentioned, the Winter Cup is going to be the first showing for the national team selections. And from there, the guys are going to go over to USA Championships, and they're going to be selecting the national team there. And those top 24 guys are going to be the ones that, that's going to be the pool of selection for our 5-man team. And if I'm not mistaken, it's at Olympic trials if the top 2 all-arounders are locked automatically. And then from there on out, it's just seeing, who was top 3 on which events, on how many events, and who contributes to the team the most in that fashion.
Well, it's a really interesting, I think, as you said off camera, really interesting challenge, because when you try to think about who these guys might be, we've already mentioned Shane. We've seen Shane Wiskus, who is a returning Olympian. Brody Malone is coming back from a major injury, but he's an incredible all-arounder and a world champion on an event. Koi Young had a huge breakout season this last year. Asher Hong is a teammate of his over at Stanford, who's just a little dynamo, an incredible gymnast.
Yeah,
I think
he
you
is,
know
man.
him from JOs. And Michigan has 2 guys, one alumni, Paul Judah, who has kind of been under the radar, I think, internationally, but one heck of a gymnast, and Fred Richards, who he broke out like his rookie year at the collegiate level gymnastically. Kind of looked to me, if I had to make a comparison, it was like watching Derrick Henry run off tackle. He just was unbelievable.
Yeah, man. I mean, Paul Judah was awesome, coming back from injury as well. He had a bit of a knee injury and had a great showing and made the world team and qualified to some event finals individually. Had an awesome showing on high bar and on vault. And yeah, I mean, same with Fred Richard, as you said, standout athlete who has also been killing it in the all-around, coming home with a bronze medal. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. We'll touch a bit more on that a bit later. Right now, it looks like we're starting with some of our events right now. So we have Florida Storm over on parallel bars. I'm sorry, Georgia United, pardon me. Nice beach to L hold. Bit of a struggle on that press handstand, but working out of it. Nice stuck double back dismount. Switch over to high bar.
Over on high bar?
That is actually Mr. Danilo Lakin, his teammate. He's a junior athlete for EVO and Team USA. great kid. Awesome lines. Huge jammed a handstand right into his L-grip Giants, going into his Stalder. Tall quast going over. Winding up for the dismount. Huge laid out double-double, just a hair close to the bar. You've done really well.
I guess I'm showing off, but Ralph Quast was a gymnast for Germany back in the 70s.
Oh, Quast was German?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, so was Franz Beckenbauer and Uli Seeler and, for that matter, Eberhard Ginger. The first two were soccer players.
Oh, yeah? Whoa, on vault over there for Illinois, that was a massive 2.5.
Carlos, it's called free association with all of this space between the routines.
All right, moving over to parallel bars again. We have another athlete from Georgia. With a nice simple parallel bars routine. Nice kip half pirouette. Huge front uprise, front full. Not a bit of a shorter routine, but anything to get a hit for the squad. If you don't have enough skills, I mean, sometimes you just got to work with what you got, work within your reins.
Who was that on floor? I think that was a double-double I saw out of the corner of my eye.
That was a massive double-double from Caleb Palacio, along with some awesome flare sequence. And a nice long double full, going down the side. Taking a knee in the corner is a nice little gymnastics hack to catch your breath right before your dismount. Going in. Huge full in. Oh, might have had a little too much juice.
Gymnastics hack?
Gymnastics hack. So what I mean by that is when you're in the corner, you can't just stay still for longer than 2 seconds. And so that is a way a lot of gymnasts have been using the corners as a quote-unquote hack to kind of catch their breath. They take a knee, they breathe for 2 seconds, and they get up and, they do their little extra transition. That way they can go ahead and catch their breath before their dismount. Moving over to high bar.
Beautiful Coleman down there on high bar. I just asked because I know what he was doing on the floor. I just had never heard the word hack before in that context.
Yeah, that's just a bit of my own gymnastics slang, thinking of little, that's just how, whenever I was coaching the guy, or I say coaching, whenever I was helping my guys at A&M and, telling them how to, breathe in between breathe in between the transitions, taking a knee was for sure one of the easier ways to catch your breath before the dismount. And yeah, just like when you see a bunch of other routines, I mean, like on floor in particular, this quad, because, the judges are hounding on people to make sure that they're moving at all times because, they're going to get hit, 1 to 3 tenths for taking too long. So that is one of the little gymnastics hacks to catch your breath and yeah, take it easy before you go for a huge D dismount.
There was a very nice back uprise to planche on the rings. Into an L. Yonason Yamawaki. Simple back uprise to support. Yonason, a Danish gymnast, and Yamawaki, of course, Japanese. The pike double front and the tuck double front in the rings, respectively. Nice full in with one little hop.
Looking over on floor, massive triple full. Just finished the routine. Simple layout dismount on parallel bars from Georgia United.
Who is this up on pommel horse, Carlos?
On pommel horse, this is, 1 second while I look at the patient sheet real quick.
Was
That's a good question.
That's I don't think that routine had 8 elements, but that was amazing. Does a tong fei and then almost an immediate dismount.
Very clever way to get off the horse. I think he might have had a bit of a fall on the routine. Looking down over on parallel bars, we got Georgia United. Nice easy kip handstand. Beach of support, just a bit of a dip on the catch. Held that L hold and press handstand. Very important that you do at least 2 seconds for that. Oh, a bit of an error on that pirouette. Works out of it well. Wow, massive double back dismount. Good way to finish that routine. Awesome champ by the Georgia United guys. Jim, did you happen to see that Maltese on rings just now?
I did see that Maltese. And one of the things maybe we'll be able to talk about at some point during the dead time is the way the rules work at the moment, and I use work in quotation, there are an awful lot of elements, there are an awful lot of positions on rings which have moves of no value and changes of directions that really shouldn't be happening if there was harmony in a routine. Which is not a criticism of the individual gymnast. That was a nice tuck double. But I really hope that the men's technical committee addresses some of these issues after their elections in October.
Did you give an example of one of those skills that you saw that kind of has that change of direction you were talking about?
Yeah, my pet peeve in the whole world as far as rings goes is a pull to inverting, cast, swing backwards. And then after they do a support position, they'll lower to inverted hang, pike, cast, swing backwards. There's a lot of dead positions that simply shouldn't happen. If you look at, well, I'm on my soapbox, but if you go and look at routines on YouTube from the 70s or the 80s, some of the difficulty or strength may not be as high a level because the rules didn't require it, but all of the moves flow one into the other without changes of direction or unnecessary movements.
We're here from Georgia United. We have a parallel bar set. A little bit of some empty swings that I'm seeing here, but whoa, a little wild on that Diamidov. Might be a new element for him. Another massive double back stuck.
But I want to emphasize real briefly on that, Carlos, and we can talk about this later. Sam McCulloch mentioned that everybody in this gym is in a different place gymnastically. And when we get a chance, I want to talk to the issues of the different prongs of the adult men's gymnastics in the United States. There's the elite, there's collegiate, and there's Gymact, and each of these serves a very appropriate function. And we'll try to clarify for the viewers a little bit later as to how that all hopefully fits harmoniously together.
Absolutely. Looking over here, we have a huge half and half out from Simpson College.
That was a really interesting technique. I won't say most, the majority of gymnasts will try to do the twisting part of the element on the first salto or somersault. And that gymnast did a full out. He actually did the rotation, most of the rotation on the second somersault. So the fans who watch closely sometimes can distinguish from the full in and the full out. Nice extension on the pommel horse. Look at that body.
It's a nice swing going right there. That dismount, just a slight tap on the horse. Wonder if he got credit for that. Let's see if he got paid. I think they're giving it to him.
Not sure if we're going to be able to get into it. Go ahead, Carlos.
No, I was just going to say, it looks like the University of Illinois is preparing for parallel bars. And caking up the equipment, make sure their grip is right. Looks like we have one more athlete from Simpson College getting ready on rings.
Doing a pull inverted hang, pike, cast, back uprights to a very nice planche. Lower to Maltese, 1001, 1002, to an inverted hang. Swing to a Maltese. Inverted hang, pike, cast. See what I mean, Carlos?
Yeah, I see exactly what you mean on that.
Great skill execution. Little over on the giant, but clean and strong handstand. Yonason, Yamawaki. Clean back uprights to support. Little archy on the press. And a very nice dismount. The execution on that was really at a very high level. My argument is not with the athlete, but with routine composition. And again, coach and the gymnast have to work within the rules, but the rules need to be changed because, and here's why. It's not attractive gymnastics. The execution is really nice, but 3 or 4 inverted hangs, which are an element of no value, pike, cast is a movement that goes in an opposite direction that has no value, and that's not what gymnastics should be. An exercise or routine should fit together cohesively. You don't see change of directions on parallel bars or high bar that don't logically fit together. But on rings, the rules makers have allowed the event to become a series of skills onto each rather than a cohesive combination of movement.
Right, and I mean, it's funny you mentioned that. On parallel bars in particular, I know that they're getting rid of the swing handstand X code, and they're requiring athletes to do a pirouette after, let's say, you do a Healy, and normally you would do a swing to handstand afterwards, hold. Some athletes would do a Diamondov or something else afterwards, but following like a Healy type element, you'd have to do like a pirouette or a hop half, and they're actually upgrading skills like hop half, Gatson, and yeah, I mean, with the code moving to 8 parts next year, I mean, I'm excited to see how some of these routines are going to be constructed, how things are going to look, and yeah, I hope they get rid of a lot of those inverted hangs on rings in particular, man. They seem to be killing you.
Let's go back to P-bars. That is a perfect example because we're reverting, if in fact they're going to insist on pirouettes as opposed to a swing handstand up, hold a handstand, and swing back down in the opposite direction. That's a reversion to what the rules used to be. There was a time 15 or more years ago, at least before the open code, where if you swung to a handstand, to a pirouette or something, to continue the movement in a logical way. You can't go up and then come back down. That would be considered an extra swing. So it's a reversion to what used to be the way the event was structured. And I'll give you another one as long as I'm on my soapbox. You can kick me off it at any point. But when we have, this has been a real problem, and I consider this a real problem in terms of routine construction, and one could even make an argument about safety on high bar. When we allowed giant swings to go more than 2 without counting as repetition, remember when we had a repetition rule? Or is this before your time?
The repetition rule as far as like repeating like a release?
No, repeating any
Like a style
skill
of element?
more than twice.
Oh, right. That was actually, yeah, before my time, but I've definitely seen videos where people will, do repetitive Tkachevs. I remember my coach, Igor Verny, showed me a video of his routine of him competing 2 straddle Tkachevs in a row, and I remember telling him, hey, why'd you do that, man? You can't repeat the same skill.
Well,
and he was like, hey, it was a different time back then, it is what it is.
We're talking Carlos, we're talking apples and oranges. There was a time when you would, and here's why. You'd be able, as your coach said, to repeat a value part in order to fulfill a difficulty requirement. So you could do Tkachev to Tkachev, or you could do on rings, for example, just use rings as a simple example, dislocate, belge to handstand. Or you could do giant swing, C move, giant swing, C move. But anytime you did a third element of the same element, it was repetition. So on high bar,
now I see what you're talking about. Yes.
You can't go giant Tkachev, giant Kovacs, giant Coleman, giant dismount. You look at modern high bar, and yes, I know I sound like some crotchety old guy, get off my lawn, but you've got routines that have 8 or 9 or 10 overgrip giants and 7 or 8 undergrip giants in the same routine. And a lot of incredible skills done in between, but it's a lot of dead stuff that doesn't really do anything, especially to the spectator. And wouldn't it be more interesting in theory, and unfortunately, I'm not on the technical committee, at least in my own mind, it's unfortunate that I'm not on the technical committee. What if we had 10 elements, your best elements, and that's all you get? Just leaving that out as something for somebody to think about.
That is something to think about. Here, let's see what we got.
Which is the way.
Looks like we're rotating events.
Anyway, that's the way it was upon a time. And the gymnastics today is incredible. I'm not saying it's not. I mean, these guys are doing just nosebleed, insane, difficult stuff. Best athletes ever. But the rules are limiting the creativity of the sport because there are certain glaring issues, at least from my long-term perspective, that the technical committee isn't addressing. And unfortunately, nobody gets on the phone and asks me. So
yeah, you should give your 2 cents to the committee, Jim. I'm sure they'd love to hear what you have to say. I mean, bring up some good points about getting rid of. Well, for example, like on parallel bars next code, I love that they're bringing back a lot of the high flying skills. So like the Suarez, the back half to upper arm from support is actually getting upgraded. More Sui's getting upgraded. All the big boy skills that you used to see back in the day that have gone away because of all the Dioms, Bakuts, Healy type elements. I mean, those are coming back, so I'm excited to see that get introduced next code for sure.
You're going to see a lot of guys on P-bars with very sore shoulder girdles.
That's true, yeah, or huge shoulders like Mr. Curran Phillips. I mean, that guy is ginormous. I hate that next code. They're, I feel like it's attacking him because his entire routine is all, or at least 5 of his elements, literally half of it is upper arm elements, pushing to a Diom, pushing to a Makuts, pushing to a Stutz. I mean, now you can only do 2 of that next code.
Well, yes, but, again, one of the things, if you take the long view of the history of the sport, what about compulsories? There was a time when all-arounds had to do 12 routines.
Oof. Well, yeah, they did have to do 12 routines, and I think I actually, well, I don't know. So you missed the compulsory routines? You would like that to get reintroduced to the sport again on the elite level?
I think that it's yes and no. On a practical level, the gymnastics that's being done now is at such a high technical level that it's already amazing to me, in a way, that we have as many people doing gymnastics, men's gymnastics, in the realm as there are. I mean, in order to do a basic, let's say 1D, 2C, 3 or 4B routine on any event, that takes 10 years to learn, 8 or 10 years to learn.
Longer
Well,
for some athletes.
Well, how long
Myself
does
included.
it take? Okay, yeah, it's the most technically complex and demanding sport of all of them. Everybody can hit. Well, I won't say everybody. Hitting a ball off a tee to start learning baseball is pretty simple. Here's a soccer ball, kick it, and everybody can do it. Well, how long does it take to learn a swing to handstand and hold it on the rings? How long does it take to do a double leg circle? One double leg circle on the
One double leg circle. Yeah, on the with handles. Yeah, not even on the mushroom. I mean, even on the mushroom, it takes a long time.
I'm just saying, the sport is very complex. It's very difficult, and when you highest level of it being done, learning that stuff takes laser focus, and everybody goes to the elements that work for that are best for them personally, within whatever the structure of the rules are. Prior to 1996, the Atlanta Olympics was the last time compulsories were competed. Every 4 years, the men's technical committee got together, and each guy on the committee, 6 of the 7 guys, were assigned an event. And the way compulsories worked back then there were 10 elements in a routine, and you could only use A and B moves. There were no C's or D's that were allowed in compulsories. So what these guys would do is they would put together the most diabolical combination of B's and A's. It'd be diabolical. Picture this. The 1976 compulsory high bar dismount was a free hip hecht.
Free hip,
you know what a hecht is?
Yeah, or the Takacha, throw going forwards.
You know what a free hip? Okay, we're on a high bar. Sorry, fans, if this is too technical, but let's handstand, drop down like you're doing a back hip circle, back up to handstand. Free hip to hand. Okay, so a free hip hecht. You got through all this routine, you go free hip and go off the bar this way. It's not a Takacha.
Like you're dismounting forwards, yeah?
Yeah.
Right, so like you shoot out like an undershoot forward.
Yeah, but over the bar with your legs straddled.
Right.
And that was like, are you kidding? Crazy. So
that is crazy.
Go back and
that is ridiculous.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that was an extreme example. So what happened is everybody had to learn all these skills that weren't natural to them. If you were a ring guy and you felt really good swinging backwards, and this is before like Yamawaki and Jonassen, doing an in-locate to a front lever and stop would be kind of difficult. There were things that were hard. There were guys. Right. There was a guy. Do you remember the Hayden brothers? Dan and Dennis Hayden were two of the. Well, we could go on and on. Anyway, the problem at compulsories was you not only had to do 6 routines in optional, the things you did best, but you had to do 6 more routines with these crazy things that all these people did to make it hard for gymnasts to do them well. And now we're back to some quality gymnastics in 2024. So take it away, Carlos.
Yes, sir. So over on pommel horse, we have Mr. Caleb Palacio doing an awesome set right now. Oh, might have spoke too soon. A little bit of a bobble on that Stockley B going down. Ooh, good recovery on that Roth. Really fighting through on these travels. That was a nice Magyar. A little bit scruffy on that Savato on the way back. Whoa! That was a quick circle to handstand that kind of came out of nowhere. Looks like he had enough juice to pull it off at the end. Over on floor, we have Mr. Danilo Lakin. Awesome flare sequence. This kid has some world-class lines. Solid press to handstand. Transitioning with a nice little cartwheel dive roll, showing off some artistry going into the corner. Solid double full, a little bit of a hop. Nice strong finish. Looks like the University of Illinois is finishing up on a parallel bar set. Whoa, huge double pike.
Tiny hop, but very nicely executed.
Let's go. Come on now. Let's go now. Come on, Michelangelo.
So yeah, it was big vault happening in the back. Let's see what we got. Oh, beautifully darted cause one, or laid out cause half.
Do you know who this
a
is on
twist.
pommel horse, Carlos?
On pommel horse. That is a good question. Check my lineups.
A little more.
Yeah, I unfortunately don't have the Gymnastics Olympica guys on my roster, but nonetheless, a little bit of a flank off, got a bit off balance on that flop. Nice flare sequence on floor down over there. Going in for a nice wide arm handstand. Nice 1.5 tuck full from Mr. Cameron Bach. Oh, unlucky landing on that front double full. Looks like that was his dismount. A little too much juice at the end. What do you think about that last pass there, Jim?
Unfortunate, but I will say, you mentioned Cameron a little earlier. Another Michigan alum who's got a shot for Paris. So I think he made a really good strategic decision to come down to Sarasota and train with Kevin and Syke in the EVO squad.
The EVO squad for sure. Yeah, Cameron Bach, 2021 Olympic alternate. He is a guy who definitely fits into the Team USA discussion really well because of how strong he is. One in the all-around and two on, some major events. I mean, the guy has the nicest lines I've seen from. I mean, he has amazing lines just across the board on all events. He's very sturdy on pommel horse, strong on rings, parallel bars as we saw earlier. He's huge. He's world class on and he can, when he puts it all together, he's really, really, really good on high bar.
As a
gnarly
fan,
cause full over on
I always
oh,
find.
sorry. Go ahead, Jim.
No, I was just going to say, as a fan of the sport, high bar to me is the most fun event to watch, and it's always felt to me like the top all around, really the cream rises to the top on high bar. It's like the most athletic event for the guys. Your thoughts when we have a chance?
For sure. Yeah, I mean, on high bar, you have to be fearless, and I feel like if you attack high bar, you have to be good on all six. I mean, Fred Richard is living proof of that, one of the most world-class athletes on high bar. I'm going to transition over to Mr. Shane Wiskus right here on floor exercise. 2021 Olympic finalist, or he was an alternate for that Olympic final. Huge double pike. Massive tuck double-double. Nice and easy double full punch layout. Stuck double full side pass. That's how it should be done. Good man. I love this part of Shane's routine, believe it or not. So he does a split press right into a fingertip stoop through press handstand. And he bobbles down right there. Very nice, Shane. Nice 2.5 to lay out full. And winding up for the dismount. Massive triple full stick. That's why he's one of the best in America.
Quality pike double by one of the University of Illinois guys. And a fortunate break there on high bar. Is that Georgia United on high bar?
That is Georgia United on high bar, yes, sir. Nice double back dismount there. I'm going to go transition over to pommel horse right now because this is Mr. Preston Nye showing off some huge flop work. Nice Wugonian, a triple Russian. Connected right into the Roth. How I wish there was connection bonus on pommel horse. Finishing strong on that dismount. Very nicely done. Former junior national team member throwing it down for the Fighting Illini.
Well, we're going to have to keep this tradition going. I think every time we've worked together, you've said how I wish there was connection bonus on pommel horse. And I completely agree with you, Carlos. It's one of those little quirks in the rules that those of us who aren't on rules-making committees can object to, I guess would be a polite way of putting it.
I have no issue throwing my 2 cents on what can be done on pommel horse. I feel like there's a lot of potential to be added. I feel like connecting skills on pommel horse can look very nice and should be rewarded for it, but I guess they reward that with, the high execution scores if you don't have any skews or anything. Over here on floor, we have Mr. Ian Sandoval. Transitioning to the other corner. Looked like he had a bit of a bobble.
I was going to say, that was a pretty low dive roll.
1.5 to front full. Nicely done. We'll shuffle back. Bit of a big hop on that double full. Finishing strong. Now transitioning over to Will Hawk from Illinois on parallel bars. Really focusing in on his routine right before the judges give him the green flag to go.
Quite a miss on the high bar there on the Tkachev. Alexei Tkachev, a Soviet gymnast from the 70s. That move was named after. And if you're listening closely, I believe that's Dire Straits play in the music in the background. Hey, I was around in the 80s. I know some of this music.
It's good music.
Absolutely.
All right, Will Hawk getting started on parallel bars for Illinois. Beautiful handstand going into his peach element. Beautifully done peach half. Nice peach handstand. Tall Stutz. His teammates yelling at him to attack this next part. Looks like a massive Bovzar. Very nicely done. Now, if you look at floor real quick, that's Alex Diab doing a Maltese. Huge. Sorry, just had to give credit to that real quick. Gonna go back to Mr. Will. Oh, a little bit of a bobble on that pirouette. Woo! Borderline on that to pelt, but I think he's gonna get paid for that one. Huge double pike dismount, good finish. I'm gonna switch over to floor, Mr. Alex Diab.
I was going to say we
down the
saw.
side. 1 second, Jim. And winding in for his dismount. Oh, massive double layout, bit of a big bobble there. All right, Jim, sorry to cut you off there. I'll let you finish that thought.
Not at all. I was just going to say, you know, we had seen Ashton Anaya over on rings earlier in the event, and his predecessor as national champion for the University of Illinois was Alex, who won a couple NCAA rings championships. And we're going to see him a little bit, hopefully we'll see him a little bit later when EVO rotates to rings. But I can say with confidence, Mr. Diab, not sure if he's going to make the Olympic team because it's going to be tough for specialists with so many quality all-arounds. But I will say confidently that Alex Diab is one of the great ringmen on the planet Earth in 2024.
Could not agree more with that statement. Alex Diab is undoubtedly one of the strongest men I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. I mean, that guy is a tank, to say the least. Gonna go over this high bar set from Georgia United. Good vault over the bar. Pirouette winding up for what looks like his dismount. Huge laid out half in, half out. Like a bit of a short routine. Whatever it takes to get the job done. Now transitioning over to parallel bars. University of Illinois. Beautiful Hamna done. Followed by a massive Healy.
That was a beautiful peach hand.
Oh, and that was a very impressive giant Diamondov from Michael Fletcher over here. Nice and easy peach. Another gymnastics hack right there is to breathe in that L hold. Not a deduction for holding it too long. Winding up. Solid parallel bar set from Mr. Michael Fletcher. Amped about that routine.
I always try to emphasize to my gymnasts that the L support in particular, handstands also, but L support in particular, is a rest move as on parallel bars and on rings. And what you should do, my advice is always to power breathe in that element. When you hit the L, breathe hard. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hard.
Get a little oxygen in there and then go. And I would see gymnasts trying to press after 2 breaths, and I'd say, geez, get to 4 breaths. Get the oxygen in there.
That's a good tip. I'm going to use that for some of my athletes when we're trading rings.
Oh, we're going to have to do a clinic together. I got all kinds of cool secret stuff I've stolen from other coaches over the last couple of decades.
Please, I would be honored to steal from you, Jim.
Bear Bryant, the great coach, football coach from the University of Alabama, once said, I never had an original thought. I just stole from everybody I encountered. Which worked pretty well. You know, he had 6 national championships.
Right. Same can be said about, yeah, I think we're about getting ready to rotate. I was going to say, commenting on that thought about stealing from other coaches, Mr. Mark Williams had an interview from, head coach of University of Oklahoma. He had an interview where this is when he was winning back-to-back titles back-to-back team titles in the NCAA, and he had asked him, what's your secret? What's what is in the water in Norman, Oklahoma that these guys are, performing so well? How are you guys able to win and be undefeated for, the streak that they had? And he said, in all honesty, it's just little bits and pieces from everyone that I've ever learned, and I've just put it all together to create this program, and yeah, it came to fruition, and all these guys are just, they were just killing it. I mean, his entire ring lineup in 2019, I think, was all American, or 2018, pardon me, 2018 NCAA's all American. That entire ring lineup were All-Americans, which I thought was insane, an insane testament to what they're doing at OU.
Mark Williams has done an incredible job at the University of Oklahoma. And I would say that, and with all due respect to a couple of the other to a number of the other college coaches who I hold in very high regard, Mark to me is the most accomplished coach of his generation. And, you know, the last time we had a broadcast, you and I talked about bloodlines. And Mark was a gymnast at the University of Nebraska. I mean, he's got what, 8 or 9 rings from Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's won 12 NCAA championships, and Mark's responsible for 8 or 9 of them, maybe 10. I'm not sure whether Paul Zert had 2 and he had, but Mark's got rings from his nationals. Right. He's got more rings than fingers because as a gymnast in Nebraska, he won 3 or 4 as well. He was on those Nebraska teams with Francis Allen and Jim Howard in the 80s. They won 5 in a row. I think that's still the record for the NCAA, consecutive. But you know, one of the things I wanted to touch on, if we have a couple of minutes, is we had talked about, or one of the points we wanted to discuss was the way the adult men's program in the United States was structured. And I wouldn't call it structured, but there's like prongs to it. And there's a very elite group of elite guys, many of, if not a majority, are training at EVO, whose focus is the Olympic Games and World Championships. And that's their focus. And that's one program I know of, and it's kind of the descendant of the old USOTC program. And then many people are familiar with the NCAA. Well, there's 83 women's programs in the NCAA, and I won't get into the whole history of it, but at the moment for men, we have 15. These are quality programs. Simpson and Greenville, who are now in their 2nd season, are doing a really quality job. They're getting good gymnasts to go to these small colleges in Illinois and Iowa, and I'm really impressed, like we talked about when we had the Greenville, Illinois meet a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
One of the issues that we're going to encounter as a group as a men's gymnastics community, I have no idea how this is going to shake out. But all this craziness at the NCAA level with football and NIL and recruiting and with the open transfers and things, that's for the big sports, the revenue sports. How that's going to shake down to the non-revenue sports, there's going to be a shakedown. Now, if and when, I don't know if or when it's going to affect men's gymnastics, but it very well could. And there's an earthquake coming in college sports that nobody knows how the fault lines are going to shake out. So there's 15 programs currently. Another 14, maybe going on 15, is Gymact. Now what Gymact is basically programs that run with the aspirations of the NCAA level programs, but aren't being funded by football. Big time programs are underwritten by football.
Yeah, those are programs that all do their own fundraising. Yeah.
Hey, and half of the Gymact programs work with a university affiliation and a university model. Washington, Arizona State, Temple, Iowa. Mike Burns at Minnesota had his program cut, and he's doing an amazing job up there. Northern Illinois, UIC Chicago, which goes back to when they were Navy Pier in the 50s. It's a great program, and I'd like to talk more about it when we get a chance, but we are clearly back into the event. And who is that on the pommel horse for EVO?
A great question, Jim. Let me pull up my my lineups and see if I can name that athlete.
think that's Mr. Netarosic's one touch, isn't it? Or is it?
I don't think that was Mr. Steven. Here, let me see. Let me pull up the...
He's a tall, skinny guy. DM.
Guys are off. Yeah, that's Mr. Alex on pommel horse, just finished up his routine. And looks like now we have Shane Wiskus getting ready to salute a horse set. I had the pleasure of getting to shadow judge at H&I this year, and I got to judge the EVO athletes, and that was a lot of fun, if I'm being honest. It was great. I got to judge with Mr. Nate Dotson, and I got to learn a lot from him and, you know, what he sees on pommel horse. And you know, I'm pretty proud to say that I was pretty on par with a lot of his scores. And, you know, we had what we call judging bingos. So every time two judges get the same score, call it a bingo. And I was very happy that, you know, I was with one of the top pommel horse judges, and, you know, I was able to see what he could see. Pommel horse is actually one of my favorite events to judge. Looks like on high bar we have a massive
Yamawaki, Matt Tkachev.
connected to a straddle Tkachev. Huge spike to Tkachev as well.
There's your
Nice
free
and easy
hip,
free
Carlos,
hip.
one arm. Yes.
Huge Zuli Min. Winding up for the dismount. Massive laid out double-double from the University of Illinois.
And a good pike double from Simpson on parallel bars.
It's a great bounce back from that Simpson athlete. I saw him had a bit of an issue on that giant. All right, going to switch over to pommel horse with Mr. Shane Wiskus. I hope he puts in the McCulloch today. Let's see it. There we go. Beautifully done McCulloch scissor. Right on a nice double scissor in the middle. Going right into these circles. Nice easy check care. Staying on top on this flop sequence. Worked out of it very well. I think anyone else would have fallen off, but he held on pretty strong. Good D-Russian. Nice Roth across the horse. Easy Tong Fei. Oh, a little bit of a bobble. Come on now, Shane. Pushing it back on that Savato. Oh, unfortunate on that travel going backwards. It's like Caesar asking if he got paid for that. Looks like he got credit. Giving a bit of a pep
Is that
talk
Georgia
on
United
how
on
to wrap
rings?
it up. That looks like above the bar on rings with Mr. Caleb Palacio and his dad. All right. Oh, looks like he did not get paid for that Savato. Going into it right now. Oh, unlucky again. Just a bit too far back. Some nice work being done on parallel bars from Simpson College. All right, former Olympian going back on pommel horse. Come on, Shane, get it back, son. Let's go. And spins it around for a nice E dismount. Not the way he wanted that routine to go. Huge dismount on high bar from the University of Illinois.
I was just going to say that set on high bar was beautiful, soaring. Maybe the highest Tkachev I've seen in the whole meet. Just floated through the air.
Really?
We're seeing some really good gymnastics here tonight, Carlos.
Couldn't agree more. Here we have Caleb Palacio fighting on rings right now. Having a bit of trouble on these giants. Pushing through. Wow, massive laid out half and half head on rings. No doubt about that. All right, next up we got Mr. Cameron Block on pommel horse from EVO Athletics. Cameron Bach has an interesting horse set. He has some old school skills, as I like to call them. He has a nice full spindle and cross support in the middle of his routine, and I just like the way his set is constructed. He's got some flops in different areas compared to most people. I feel like most people do their Stockley type elements in the beginning after their scissor, but he does a bit of travel work and then he goes into his flops and just has a very beautiful construction. I'm going to go over to my friend over here on floor exercise. This is Mr. Aiden Whitehead, team captain of Georgia United. Massive double layout. Might have kissed his knees a bit on that landing, but worked out of it pretty well. Huge double back. This guy is a very powerful athlete. Very powerful gymnast. Also has a very strong ring set as well. He's got some Malteses. Not doing me any favors on that press handstand, Aiden. I've seen him do that way better. All right. Locking back into this routine. Nice simple dive roll to fulfill that front tumbling requirement. Oh, intricate front tuck to prone support there. Don't see many of those. Executed very well. Kind of snuck that one on us. So we got here winding up for his dismount. Oh, maybe not just yet. Back layout. That was the dismount. Very good finish, Mr. Aiden. And on pommel horse, we have Mr. Cameron Bach. Going for the upgrade. Come on now. Beautiful Busnari. And nice flare side travel going up and down on the horse. There we go into this flop type element. Nice E flop. Going from the end of the saddle. Check care. All day long with this flop work. Beautifully done. D Russian going into his Magyar. Come on now, pushing back. Staying on top. Oh, unlucky. You looking on high bar over there, Jim?
Element. Nice Kovacs, named after the Hungarian who did it in the 70s. Busnari on pommel horse was the Italian gymnast who that skill was named after. And Cameron for the dismount, just you need to dip on the front side of the horse just a little bit to get your hips up. And he was unable to accomplish that first time through. So hopefully he's going to be able to finish up nice and clean here.
Stepping back up. Oh, unlucky yet again. I think he just needs to take a bit more time and just get the nerves settled. I mean, yeah, that Busnari was gorgeous that he did earlier. That was awesome. I haven't seen him compete that in a minute, if I'm being honest, and I wasn't expecting the flare side travel either. So when I said new routine, I mean it's a new routine, man. That's gonna be awesome in the next coming months once he locks that in. All right, pull it together, son. Come on. On top.
There you go.
That's more like
and
it.
I think we both know, and reminding our viewers, this is a high-quality meet, but it's beginning of the season, and the road to Paris doesn't really start until 2 weeks from now in Louisville, Kentucky, when they have the Winter Cup. I haven't looked at the start list, but I'm confident that Cameron's on there, and you and I think, will be looking for a quality hit routine on pommel horse for Mr. Bach the end of the month here in February.
Couldn't agree more. I really hope he puts a good showing at Winter Cup this year. And speaking of hit routines, I don't know if you caught that on parallel bars, but Simpson College just threw down a huge P-bar set. Massive double front at the end. Very big for that D3 school. They're putting up a pretty good show today. All right, and I think next up on pommel horse we have Mr. Brody Malone, and then to follow him, it's going to be world champion Steven Narazic. Very excited for both of these routines. You can see Steven over there visualizing that triple Russian. This is going to be an awesome set. Walking around. Looks like he's dancing to the music. All right, here we have Mr. Brody Malone getting ready on pommel horse. Brody Malone has also improved since his injury on pommel horse in particular. He's made this McCulloch look very, very, very good. Gave him kudos on that at H&I. Beautifully done yet again. Another massive scissor full going in the middle. Staying on top on that zone, very nicely done. Just a bit of a shuffle with the legs. You know, for a guy this massive, it's impressive that he can do flops like this. 1, 2, 3, very nicely done.
You know, I think
misses.
you make a really good point about.
Go on, Jim, you were saying?
Let Mr. Malone finish up here. Very clean. You know,
Smash
from the
that
get-go,
routine, very nicely done.
one of the things that impresses me, and impressed me from the very first time I saw Brody on pommels, is this is a powerful looking guy. I mean, look at the shoulders and the thickness of the chest on this guy. He's a beast. But, which normally works against quality pommel horse. But what Brody does, I think that distinguishes him from most guys with his physique. Here's some high-level Illinois hop catch on the high bar.
Yeah, he had some awesome Tkachevs earlier, winding up that dismount. Laid out half-half, just a bit of an undercut at the end. Very nicely done for Mr. Logan Myers.
I want to go back to Malone.
Yes, sir.
What he really does that distinguishes himself on the event is he lets the skills come to him. He extends to the extent his body is able, and he never rushes a skill. If you watch him swing a circle, he always comes to full extension on the back side and rides the front side around. It's so unhurried. It looks relaxed, but there's a controlled relaxation that allows him to minimize deductions. And because his swing is so pure, it's never rushed, his shoulders never get ahead of his feet, he's able to make the intricate hand placements that allow him to be a very high-level pommel worker with a body that's more rings-oriented.
I like what you said about how he waits for the skills to come to him. I mean, that is the perfect way to describe Brody Malone's, ability on pommel horse. This guy, I mean, yeah, the way he stays on. He's national champion on pommel horse in the NCAA in his second to last season. And that routine that he did was, insane. Over here on parallel bars, we have a nice double back. Simpson College.
Well, I didn't know Brody's gymnastics. I really think that concept is a hallmark of the Stanford program, and Tom Gleamy does a really great job with that. Now here's world champion Steven Nedorosik. Take it away, Carlos.
Yes, sir. All right, Steven Nedorosik, world champion on pommel horse. Another huge McCulloch right here, probably the smoothest one we'll see in the competition. Very nicely done. Locking it on top. Let's count him. 1. Oh, it's a bit of a bobble there. Beautifully done sewn. Let's see this bazoo go. Yes, sir. Oh, come on now. Get it back. Get it back. Good lad. Come on now. Staying on top. World class for a reason. Moving through on that woo. No scrape, no problem. Oh, look at this. Nice little triple Russian on the end. There might have been 2. Let's see. Pushing back. Beautifully square on that Magyar Savato. Winding it up. Come on now. And gets through. Not up to the standard he wanted, but, a hit horse set's a hit horse set, Steven. You take that and run, sir.
Yeah, I had a chance. I was writing for International Gymnast Magazine at a NCAA a few years ago. And when Steven won his second NCAA title, he was a Penn State gymnast. And I had a chance to interview him, and we were down on the floor, and I said, well, you know where the Sohn comes from. He says, oh, yeah, Mark Sohn. And I said, well, you know, he's the first guy to win. He was a Penn State gymnast in the 90s. I said, he's the first guy to win 4 NCAA championships on an event. And he said, yeah. He says, he's sitting right up there watching me. He says, I'm hoping I can get to be as good as him someday. And I was like, son, Mark Sohn was one of the first 2 Americans to compete at the first specialist. He was one of the first 2 Americans to compete at the first specialist world championships. And he was 4th on pommel horse at his very first worlds. And Stephen has followed in some pretty amazing footsteps and created kind of a unique niche in his own right. First American world champion on the pommel horse.
Over here we have Mr. Ian Sandoval getting ready for pommel horse. Another beautiful look. Right here. Come on, stay on top, sir. Oh, man. I really thought he was going to be able to finesse that one. Just got a bit hung up. The heel's a bit down on that drop for the Sohn.
It's funny how an inanimate horse can buck just as hard as a 1,200-pound real one.
If not harder sometimes. All right, resetting right now. Let's see if he goes for it. Come on now. All right, way to get it back. Good man. Staying on top for this Stockley work. Very good flop. Locking back in for D-Russian. Oh, E-Russian, pardon me. Snuck that one on me. That was really good. There we go. This is where the exciting stuff happens. Beautiful Flair Magyar Stavato. Showing everybody why he's one of the top recruits this year. Whoa, making his way around. Just fell on the wrong side. He'll still get credit for that dismount, just, you know, yeah, not on the side he wanted to land on.
You swung, when you were training, Carlos, you swung a lot of pommel horse, didn't you?
Yes, sir. Still do. Still swing horse. It's my favorite event. It's the one that hurts the least.
Do you? Well, it depends. Do you wear long pants every time you do the pommel horse?
Every time. I want it to feel as close to competition as possible. That way, you know, I don't feel any hiccups or anything. And it also helps me kind of, you know, cheat on by on some skills in case I'm scraping and just, you know, go on right through rather than, you know, clipping the horse when I'm, you know, just bare on with shorts. It's nicer to swing with, you know, pants on in general.
Well, yeah, and that's really the intelligent way to do it. I know when I swung horse at a very low level, and a lot of the guys I knew didn't always wear long pants. So, you know, you're working out and you got shorts on, you get up on pommel horse, but that thing not only bucks, but it bites. You do a travel down the wrong way, it'll like a little nip at your knees. You come to a quick stop with that leather, and it's bit me more and cut me more than once.
Yeah, man. My legs are just, it looks like someone got a stick and just kept hitting over and over and over again. And like, you know, my friends who don't do gymnastics will come in, like, you know, if I'm wearing shorts, they'll look at me and be like, Jesus, dude, did you walk through a forest? Like, did you go through pine trees? Like, what's up with your legs? Like, I mean, and I just say, yeah, it's gymnastics, it's pommel horse. I need to get better at it. I need to not keep flipping the handles every time I, you know, travel and do whatever. But yeah,
no, that's just
definite big Aquaphor guy. I mean, I use any kind of lotion possible to make sure that the skin on my legs tries to recover. I mean, I'm just covered with scrapes and bruises all over from pommel horse, man. And that's with pants on, you know. I feel like it'd be way worse if I was just swinging in shorts.
Well, listen, I wanted to follow up. I just want to finish up on a thought I was discussing in the previous rotation. Gymact evolved 6-7 years ago as an organization of non-funded college programs. So you have Washington, Arizona State were really the pioneers, Temple, Minnesota, Iowa. I mean, there's like 8, I think, affiliated college programs. And other programs have kind of joined on. I call them amalgamated programs, where some play, like Southern California United, Florida Storm is a first-year full-time team program. Kansas United, Rocky Mountain Pride.
Texas Armadillos.
Right. Well, you and I could talk about Texas A&M at another time off camera. But my point is there has been a growth of serious, high-level men's gymnastics. And my personal strong feeling is that the growth should be directed with college affiliation for reasons that we won't go into in great detail, but the branding and potential revenue streams can't be duplicated without a college affiliation. That said, the idea that we have these programs that are running independent of athletic department, meaning college and NCAA football and NCAA basketball funding, is really exciting because there was a time when people didn't think that was going to happen or could happen. And we've got Washington's been around for 40 years. Arizona State's been independent for 30 years. These programs can exist and thrive. We've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. We've got 14 now, and I think they've got another 1 or 2 on the way. So, and for people who aren't really watching Gymact closely, Texas has a guy. Dallas was on the national team this year. Washington and Arizona State have sent a number of guys to USA Championships on a reasonably regular basis. It's been a few years, but Washington had a guy who made the event finals at the World Championships and had guys compete for worlds for foreign countries. So it's a wing of gymnastics for men in the United States that is growing. It's at a high level. The depth isn't like with the NCAA programs, but it's going great guns, and we've got 29 or 30 programs extant in the United States. So for anybody who doesn't think that men's gymnastics is growing and thriving, pay attention. There's a high level at the highest level and depth throughout men's gymnastics in the United States. So that's my little spiel on an explanation for what Gymact is and how it's been going.
All right, moving on to floor exercise, we have the University of Illinois. Nice 1.5 to laid out front full. Sebastian Ingersoll. Let's see what he finishes up with. Nice back layout to finish. Over on high bar, looks like we have Simpson College with a massive straddle to Tkachev. Wow, really juiced over that free hip. Might have blinked there, but I think that was a flying giant. Wow. No Chinese tap, laid out half and half out. You don't see very many of those.
And a nice stuck double front off rings. Not sure which EVO gentleman that is.
You sure? No, Matt?
Simpson College about to mount on the high bar.
Looks like for high bar, this is Mr. Connor Jenkins from Simpson College. Over on floor, we have Garrett Schooley training back at home. He's actually from EVO Gymnastics. Massive tuck double-double. Nice front double full to front full. Nice easy double full side pass. Nice 2.5 front layout. Getting ready to finish strong. And the dismount. Nice triple full. All right, moving back over to Mr. Jenkins on high bar. Wow. Huge pike to Tkachev. Coming back with a nice straddle to Tkachev. Making the bar work. Simpson College playing it smart, using a free hip as their in-bar element. And a nice flying giant for that long swing element. Tucked half and half out to finish. Looks like he's hyped up for that routine. Over on rings, we have Mr. Cameron Bach.
Come on.
Beautifully done front giant. Slight bobble on that back giant. Lock it in through this dislocate. Oh! What's it to his feet? Heavy double-double. Undercooked.
We'll see what it looks like in 2 weeks. And over
Fact.
on floor, one of the things we want to pay attention to, Carlos, I know you're aware of this, we'll kind of keep track of that Illinois floor lineup because Amani Sewell and Connor McCool are going to rock this joint a little bit later in this rotation. I assume Amani's up on the rotation, and Connor is he's an absolute floor god.
No kidding. So following Michael Fletcher, who's up right now, it's going to be Mr. Tate Costa and then Connor McCool.
And a labored, I think it was triple Russian there from one of the Georgia United guys. And, you mentioned earlier the Root Gymact guys look short to you. It very well could be. You may be aware that the Gymact rules, and I don't know how much they're changing their routines for this particular competition, but Gymact rules allow 8 elements like the code's going to next year. They've taken a jump on that to try to emphasize the guys doing the skills they're doing as cleanly as possible. So it's possible we're seeing some routines that are 8 by design rather than unintentionally short from
Right.
Florida Storm and Georgia United today.
Coming up next on Still Rings, we have Mr. Shane Wiskus.
Let's go, Tate.
Cheers. Coming back to floor with Tate Costa over here. Massive full in. Had to show off some non-acrobatic elements. That's what we got here. Beautifully done V. Stoop through press handstand. Showing lots of control.
Shane Wiskus, nice Maltese on rings. Maybe the feet are a hair low. Back uprise to a very solid planche. A little bit of an arch, but a clean, solid hand swing to a handstand. Shane's breathing in the straddle support. Planche was a little short, real short. Hollow back pressure, a lot of those. Usually it's straight arm, pike body. He's working his way back into ring shape. One small step on the dismount. Carlos, my man, you having a good time?
Yes, sir. I'm loving this competition. I'm just completely baffled by all this gymnastics happening at once, if I'm being honest. Huge straddle to Tkachev over from Simpson College over on high bar. Same with that free hip. Let's see. Let me guess. Flying giant. Yes, sir. A lot of copy-paste routines playing it smart. Huge laid out half and half out. Just a bit of a body change in the middle of it. And if I'm hearing this correctly, it looks like Connor McCool is going to be up on floor next.
And he's going to mount, I believe, with probably the highest difficulty we're going to see tonight. He should be doing a double back, 2.5, and then he'll come back with a double-double.
Here we go, starting off with his first pass for Mr. Connor McCool. Big Ten champion on floor. Massive 2.5 twisting double back, as Jim mentioned. Darted. Look at this, whip, 2.5, front full. World class indeed. Very nicely done, Connor McCool. Front handspring, front double full to front layout. Racket up this connection bonus. Nice butterfly twist.
I think Brody Malone's over on rings. Is that Brody?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir, that
that's
is
nice
Brody
Maltese.
Malone. Elevator push-up over there. I'll let you commentate that one, Jim.
I'll tell you a story about that after the rotation. Inverted cross, you don't see many of those either this time in gymnastics. And a planche. Hey, you think this guy's strong over here on rings?
I think the guy's a bit too strong. Ashton Anaya level strong on rings.
Well, here's the crazy part. And this is folks, this is an incredible routine up here on the upper right-hand corner. Look at that. So you see where the skill, he waits for the skill to come to him? No rush. And he's working that leg back into shape. Here's the crazy thing about that routine. You say the guy is almost inhumanly strong. He's the second strongest guy in this rotation. Wait till you see how
That is very true. You're right. In that rotation, he's going to be the second strongest. I cannot wait to see Mr. Alex Diab's ring set. Looks like he'll be up next. And I wanted to comment back on Connor McCool's floor routine. So Connor McCool actually just qualified to Winter Cup because of how well he's been doing on floor exercises. Has been putting up some massive difficulty scores, as we just saw. Doing some crazy passes like, the 2.5 twisting double back, the whip connected to the 2.5, connected to the front full. And then that, double full front layout pass, and just darted that triple full at the end. I mean, this guy's going to put up a strong showing in the next 2 weeks, and I'm very excited to see how he performs there. I hope he can match those stuck landings and show everyone why he's one of the best in America.
Well, as we're getting ready to over, just want to make another brief comment about Alex. Gymnasts on a lot of different levels, one can argue, have bloodlines. Well, this guy comes from Royal Rings bloodlines. His dad, Mark, was a two-time NCAA champion on rings in the 1980s for Iowa State University. I think he's in the Hall of Fame in cyclone gymnastics down in Ames, Iowa. And Mark actually had a skill in his routine that hasn't been done by anybody else in the United States. There was a gymnast at UCLA named Freddie Behind who who worked it, but I don't believe ever actually competed it. Mark did a Maltese in an Olympic cross position. So if you look at the Maltese and think of the body with the shoulders perpendicular to the ground, that was an element that he actually introduced into his NCAA championship routine. So, and so I asked, or John Roethlisberger one time asked Alex, "Who's the best ringman in your family?" And he said, "Well, I am. I win the NCAA," which he ended up doing, and here he is on this event right now. And going back to Cameron Bach's little problem, let's remember, this is a warm-up meet for Winter Cup. Alex pulls to a back lever pull Maltese. That's, by the way, that's impossible. That's Photoshop, folks. That's not a real person. Little Archie in the handstand, but locked out. Jonasson to Maltese. Goes up a little bit and then just locks into it and rolls to a cross. That hurts my shoulders just looking at it.
And a massive finish from Alex Diab on that laid out half and half out on rings. Yeah, how you were saying earlier, Jim, it is just impossible what this guy does on still rings. I mean, that back lever press up to Maltese. I've only done that on the Dream Machine for fun. That's the pulley system for rings where you train, you know, your strength elements. I mean, I would do that, you know, for fun, thinking I was strong, but that guy is alien level strong. I mean, that guy is just so jacked. That is ridiculous.
Okay, I think we've got one more gymnast in this rotation. Oh, we've got at least one Simpson guy on high bar. And Mr. Sandoval on rings, is that correct?
That is correct. Mr. Ian Sandoval's up next on still rings. And we have a Simpson athlete on high bar coming up next. Starting off with a nice stem over. Beautifully done endo. Winding up for this first release move. A bit short on that Tkachev. Tried to work out of it. And receive a change of direction deduction on that kip. He was supposed to go over the bar. So get a bit of a grip change. Try to hit that flying giant. Solid tucked half and half out. All right, Jim, I'll let you take it away on this ring set from Ian.
Nice kip, L. Jonasson Yamawaki kind of tilted over a little bit. But this is a young guy, and he's, you know, you can see he's pretty willowy physique-wise. This is not an event that lends itself to skinny 17-year-olds. Nice bail. Could wait a little longer on the swing, but a good locked-out handstand. Big giant dislocate, and he worked that double-double. You know what's going to happen is this guy's just going to get, you know, he's got good swing technique. He's got a really solid handstand, and over the next 4 or 5 years, he's going to get a lot stronger. It's just a natural progression. In my opinion, most ringmen, if they stay healthy and are able to keep competing, don't really reach their peak until they're at the earliest mid-20s, and usually late 20s is your prime for that particular event. It's just there's a level of strength that's dense in adult men you just don't have at 20. Yeah. So that's my 2 cents on the ring rotation.
Yeah, and you know he's going to be over at Illinois, so I mean they got nothing but awesome ring guys and people to learn from there. So I mean he's going to be in good hands on rings, and I like how late he actually went on that tuck double trying to wrap it around at the end. So he's to really pull just a little bit harder going on that dismount. But I mean, yeah, Ian Sandoval is going to be set up for success these next coming years over at Illinois.
Yeah, and I just want to say one last thing on rings. You know, there's technique and there's technique. And in order to be a real gymnast, you need to have a lot of technique and be at a very high level of sophisticated because the task demands of the sport are so complex and there's so many of them. But rings is the least technical event. And the secret to rings, basically, there's only two things you really have to do to be successful on rings. One, you have to hang there, and two, you have to squeeze real hard. And if you squeeze real hard and you hang there for a long, you're a good ring man. You just got to keep squeezing real hard. The harder you squeeze, the better you get on rings.
The harder you squeeze, the better you get on rings.
Yeah. So anyway, I got a quick story. We were talking about
Go
Brody.
ahead.
You mentioned elevator going up on Brody's routine. Okay.
Yes, sir. The
Right
Maltese
from the
pushed
Maltese to the
straight
planche.
body planche. Yeah.
One of the most remarkable. Indulge me for a personal story for a moment.
Go for
One
it.
of the most remarkable workouts I ever had. I was at the Nationals one time coaching, but I brought my ring grips because I like to work out when I was up to a certain point until I got the gray hair and the shoulders were. Anyway, I'd like to work out. So Paul O'Neill, who was the guy who did the O'Neill, the layout Gazogi on rings.
That's right,
and
yeah.
Silver medalist for the U.S. in '94. The year before that, Paul was at the Nationals, and I had work, and he was there. And rings was the event I did best a long time before that. Do you mind if I work out with you? Oh no, God, it'd be great. So he asked me, and I went, "Are you kidding me? You know, does Salma Hayek want to go out with me? Are you kidding? Yeah, cool." So I'm here with Paul O'Neill. So I get up on the rings at one point. He goes, "You've got a really good planche." And I went, "Really? Thanks." So he says, "Have you ever tried this?" He gets up and he goes, planche, Maltese, planche, Maltese, planche, Maltese, planche. He did it 4 times.
No way.
He drops off. And I'm sitting here and I'm looking at him like I'd just been hit in the head with an axe. I was like, he looks at me and he says, "What? You got a funny look on your face." I said, "We're not." He says, "I just was doing it to work out, something I thought up." He says, "Why?" I said, "Because I've been looking at, I've been in gymnastics for, over 20 years, 30 years. I said, I've been around 30 years. I've seen all the good ring men. I've never seen that before." And I said, "If you put that in your routine for the world championships, you could win the world." And he put it in his routine for '94, and he got second, and he should have beat Yuri Keki, but that's a whole other long story. But
Right.
I saw Paul O'Neill do that, and I said, "You got to put that in your routine." So he did.
Wow. That is awesome. That is so cool, man. Oh my God. That's legendary. Put it
the
simply.
oh my God isn't about me. It's about this guy making this element up and going boop, 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 boop. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and leading you with, have you tried this? And just going up and down, pressing buttons on the elevator.
Yeah. Okay, so where are we here? Hey, listen, you know what? Until we actually get some gymnastics going, Carlos, let's brag about EVO. Let's talk about how great it is that Sam McCulloch, 3-time Olympian, and Kevin Majika, at least twice and maybe 3 times Olympic coach, has got this program put together, and it's really working for the U.S. men's program. Thoughts?
Sorry, Jim, I lost you for a second. You mind repeating that?
Let's do the gymnastics. I'll come back to it during a break.
Okay. All right, so over on Illinois, we got some great pommel works happening right now. An awesome massive scissor going into his flop work. Solid D Russian going down. Beautiful Magyar pushing into I'm going to say it again. I wish there was connection bonus on pommel horse. That was beautifully done. Massive dismount at the end. Can this guy see straight right now? That was so many. Look at him. He's sitting down. Well, what is this? That was an awesome, awesome celebration after an awesome horse set. Jim, what do you think? Have you ever seen a celebration like that?
You know, every time I think I've seen it all and heard it all, I see something new. And yes, nope, I've never seen that one before. So put that in the book.
Literally, I might have to steal that one. That was that was well played, to say the least. I mean, I was about to ask, like, do you think he's dizzy after that? And then the guy sits down, and I'm thinking, oh man, he like made himself dizzy. No, he was going right into a celebration. That's hilarious.
Are you still competing?
I would say that I'm like loosely training right now. I might join the Texas Armadillos again, but I guess we'll see. I got to get back in shape.
Gymact Nationals is second weekend in June, Daytona Beach. See you there. I'll look
I'll
for
have
you
to
on
keep
pommels.
it open my calendar. Yeah, go on. Sorry, go ahead.
Put it on your calendar. Tell the Armadillos they need to get you there.
For sure,
by the way,
we'll see. Yes, sir.
For those of you who are viewing this, I don't really think the Armadillos have a slush fund. I was just saying that to tease Carlos.
I'm going to transition over to pommel horse right here because Mr. Sebastian is killing it right now with some awesome bazooka work, some flops. Oh, I might have spoke too soon. Get it back, son. Come on. Good Roth. Fighting for this woo across to triple Russian. Come on now. Come on now. Beautifully done. Really held it together at the end.
Now, you know, if anybody should be dizzy after a pommel routine, it's that guy. To combine a Roth and a woo and a triple Russian consecutively is like how many turns of the head and body without a stop.
I gotta say somewhere between 6 and 7 for sure.
That's a great combination. I really like the way that.
Whoa. Stuck, laid out, cause 1.5 from Shane Wiskus. Veteran, the teammates are hyped. Over on floor, we got some clean work. Doing the gymnastics hack of the taking the knee before you wind up for your dismount. And a solid 2.5 finish for that D-dismount. And if we're taking a look at the scores, Jim, Illinois is ahead of EVO by just a single point. This is going to be a tight matchup going into this last rotation. Solid cause full from Ian Sandoval. Now it's transitioning over to pommel horse. Got some nice flop work. One back on top. Solid 3/4 Russian. Nice Mogilny travel. Or Zika travel going back. Jim, correct me if I'm wrong. I might have swapped those. Magyar going across. Savato travel back. Winding up for the dismount.
I don't know about back and forth.
Pommel-horse.
Some of those hand placements are almost impossible to follow, but let me just say two things real quickly. Historically, Marius Zika was a great Romanian gymnast who was in the sport for a long time, and I urge any of you fans who are interested in seeing the most beautiful gymnastics possible, get on YouTube and Google Valentin Mogilny on YouTube. He's my all-time favorite male gymnast and the most elegant gymnast in history, my personal and considered opinion. And you know, one other thing I want to say, Carlo, this meet with Illinois currently a point in the lead, this is going to be very, very interesting because, as you know, vault usually is the highest scoring event. It's hard to get deductions when it's only one element. But Illinois is loaded on pommel horse. And if EVO manages to eke out another point and win this thing, it's going to be very, very, very close. I don't know if Illinois is, I mean, this is going to be really close. So normally vault should be way, way higher scoring than pommels. But these Illinois guys are absolutely fantastic on this event. So let's see how this all shakes out.
Right, and it looks like Illinois is actually going to have some help from another event because they're also on parallel bars right now. Here we have Preston Nye doing an awesome back uprise handstand. Staying on top on that Diamondov. Beautifully done. Beautifully tall Stutz. Front upright swing handstand taking his time. Solid double pike dismount. And Illinois again on pommel horse with a beautiful E-Russian. Staying on top, Mr. Brandon Dang also qualified his spot to Winter Cup. Fighting, fighting, fighting. Making it look good on this Stockley flop going down. Nice tall woo travel. Beautiful line on this Magyar Savato. And
oh my goodness gracious.
Whew. Slingshot on that dismount.
Sorry to interrupt you here, Carlos, but if I recall correctly, I didn't see the competition, but I believe in their win over Michigan last week, Brandon got a feel in this event. So they are not opening any doors right now for our EVO friends.
Undoubtedly. I mean, he, scored something crazy like a 15-2. I mean, he had an execution score that was through the roof. Over your on floor exercise. Simpson athlete with a solid front double full. Solid front 1.5. A little bit of a bobble at the end there. Swedish fall getting these non-acrobatic elements in with a split to press handstand. Got to hold it for 2 seconds. Right into a Stalder hold, or Stalder roll to handstand, pardon me. Transitioning to a round-off layout. Seeing that being done a bit more and more. Solid 1.5 to front layout. Maybe in the future he's going to be changing that to a 2.5 to get that connection bonus. Speak of the devil, there's that 2.5 for the dismount. Very solid set. And here we have Mr. Tate Costa on pommel horse. Get ready for some awesome flare work, folks. Throwing it down, solid full spindle. Flare over both handles. Check care over both handles.
Whoa! Look at that half spindle. That was beautiful.
This guy just floats, Jim. Look at these travels. Oh! Fighting, fighting! Oh no! Unlucky on that dismount. Unlucky. All right, give him some time to reset. Dan Rivero having a bit of a laugh over there.
That was hard to see because you're rooting for this guy to just finish that incredible set.
Just ran out of juice at the end, but I mean,
cleanly as the first 90% of it had flowed.
All right, looking to redeem himself. And that's how it's done. Very nicely done, Tate. Just got to get the falls out before Winter Cup, I think is all he's doing, you know?
Yeah,
gotta get a bad routine out there to save up the good ones.
I know we talked about this when we were watching Illinois and Greenville a couple of weeks ago, but that's so Sasha Artemov, the American Olympian from a couple of quads back, which is, I mean, I love flares. It's such a nice, distinct way of swinging on the pommel horse.
Over here on floor, we got Storm rolling with a 1.5 laid out full. Very nicely done. Taking his time, breathing. Really taking his time stepping into that corner. Very clever. Lining up for this dismount. Oh, gnarly triple full done.
Okay, now let's talk about this real quickly. One of the issues about gymnastics is tactical. And given where he finished on the dismount, at least 10 feet from the corner, there was no reason for him to sort of step, turn around to get into the farthest end of that one corner. I really think that my coach suggests that quality presentation from the beginning to the end of the routine will affect the E score. And the fewer superfluous movements one has, the less chance of deductions in an E score.
Jim, I'm going to cut you off right there just because I have a good friend of mine competing on steel rings right now. This is Mr. Aiden from Georgia United. Nice dislocate into a front prize L hold. Going back down to that Maltese position. This is a strong guy. He had some wrist injuries in the past, and gymnastics wasn't too kind to him in his first year or so of undergrad, but it's awesome to see him back on rings. Holding it down for Georgia United. Look at that. Roll forward to a back and prize handstand. Come on now, Aiden. Looks like he fell a bit short. Playing it smart at the end. Dislocate double back to finish strong. Sorry about that, Jim. Just a friend of mine that I wanted to highlight real quick.
Well, let me tell you something, buddy. You never have to apologize for cutting me off. My wife, Hannah, would suggest that it's probably a good idea more often than not. So anytime you feel the need, just tell me to shush.
Please stick around as we calculate the final results.
Heard. And I think we're calculating the final results right now. Looks like the Illinois guys are having a laugh. Not sure if they caught EVO. I mean, they finished on vault. They had guys on different events towards the end, so I mean, we'll see. We'll see who ended up.
Well, while we're waiting, I wrote something down before we got started here that I wanted to challenge you on. And
Yes,
this meet, this has been a great. We agree this has been a great event, right?
100%.
And I hope that Sam McCulloch will have this meet running for the next 10 or 20 or 30 years. And as you know, Sam was this hasn't happened a lot. Time American Olympian for the men, right?
Right. Yeah, there's not many opportunities for elite competitions in America, but I mean, I'm glad that he's opened this up to see some awesome gymnastics from the Gymact program. Obviously, you got two NCAA teams out here, and then you got the EVO guys showing out and showing off some awesome stuff.
Well, we're just a few months from Paris, but let me challenge you with a little bit of I wouldn't call it trivia question, but it's a history question, and I didn't have to look it up, but I did look to make sure I knew for sure. But how many three-time U.S. men's Olympic gymnasts can you name?
Three-time men's
McCulloch is
Olympic
one.
gymnast can I name? Yeah, I want to say
A
John
man who made
Roethlisberger is another one.
John Roethlisberger is the second of 6.
Right. And then, man, if I had to think of a third one off the top of my head, I know Jonathan Horton was only able to make it to 2. I know the Hums were around for about 2. I think they were on the verge of making 3. Yeah, they were on the verge of making a third, but injury just kept him out of Beijing. Oh man, who's a guy who's made it 3 times, man? I feel like I should know this.
A little bit further back. You need to read your history, my friend.
No, man. If this were an exam, I think I'd fail.
It's all right. That's what I'm here for, to enlighten the populace. Bart Connor was on 3, including the boycotted one of 1980.
That's what I should have known.
Okay, then there's 3 you wouldn't know, but I'm just going to. Jack Beckner was on the 52, 56, and 60 teams. and he was a longtime coach at University of Southern California. Jack is a legend in the sport, and a name you know, even though you probably don't know anything about him. It's Frank Comiskey.
Frank Combs.
The Comiskey
Okay.
Award. Frank Comiskey was on the 1932.
Oh my God,
Frank was on.
Jim, look at those scores. 416, 2-5 from EVO. Illinois 416, 1-5.
All right.
Oh
the
my
winner
God.
Of the lottery board is.
Well, you know what?
Ticket number 348325. 348325.
Are we on the mic?
Lottery board. Come up and grab this prize.
416
Ticket
from
number
Illinois. That is a big
348325.
number, Jim. That's, I think, 3 points. I mean, they're announcing it right now. Let's listen. I mean, Oklahoma and Stanford both broke 420s earlier this year, and then you have Illinois with a 416 right now. That's a big number, man. That's ridiculous. 416 is crazy, man. That is insane.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, if you go through the totality of the meet, I think that last Palmer routine was the first break they had. And that's why they were.
Oh my God. What a competition, Jim. That is ridiculous.
Okay, silent auction winner of the men's Nike Red Team USA Performance Full Zip Hoodie. This item is autographed by Mag Foundation U.S. resident Olympic team members. And the winner is Peyton. Please see the front desk to claim your
So I can
prize.
take it? Is the stream done?
Oh my goodness.
Silent auction winner of the men's Team USA Red Olympic snapback hat is Brian Kilroy. Please repeat to the front desk to claim your prize, Mr. Brian Kilroy. And the winner of the Fixer Rip Kit inspired by Curran Phillips is B. Right.
All right, sounds good.
Well, how long do you want us to talk?
We'll let him transition over to us, Jim, and then we'll go off of that. But wow,
Let's do it.
what a competition! That was electric, to say the least. I can't believe that it came down to the singular 10th. I mean, that's absurd. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what happened with that. I mean, it's really interesting because one would assume that with the firepower that EVO had, that even as good as Illinois is as a college team, that it shouldn't have been close. When you're comparing world champions and Olympians to guys who haven't done it yet. But the real secret to success in gymnastics is you have to hit on the day. In Illinois, I think the only break they counted was that last fall on the last pommel horse routine. And EVO, because they're pushing the envelope and they're looking more long range, they had a lot of mistakes today. Good mistakes. They made the right mistakes for the right reasons in many respects to upgrade difficulty in various things. But they had fun. Whiskas fell on the pommel horse. He had some problems on the floor. I mean, guys had problems.
Right.
So 4 or 5 errors, and all of a sudden, Illinois is in it till the last routine. And this has been an exciting meet. And I will also say, I'm very impressed with. We didn't talk as much about it because they weren't, the marquee guys. But the Florida Storm did a nice job, and Georgia United looked pretty good. And as I said with Greenville, for the second year of history, and Illinois has been around since before World War II. Simpson did a nice job tonight. We saw great gymnastics. Really enjoyed it, and I'll let you finish you have the last word, but I've had a lot of words, but you can have the last word. I've really enjoyed working with you tonight, and I hope we'll have an opportunity to do it again. So, heck of
Likewise,
a meet.
Jim. Yeah, go on.
Thanks,
go on,
EVO, Sam McCulloch, and all possible.
Yeah, man, I had a great time commentating with you. I'm glad that we got to do it again, that we got to do it for this competition in particular. I mean, this was so much fun. Obviously, a lot of gymnastics going around. We had to be, vigilant and quick on what routines we were commentating on, but I mean, we got to see some world-class stuff from a lot of awesome athletes, both, on the Gymact side, the NCAA side, the elite side. I mean, it was an awesome meet to commentate, and I'm glad you and I got to do it together, and I hope we get invited back to do more, man. It's been great. We make a great team, man. This has been awesome.
Jim Holt signing off. Have a happy handstand, everybody.
Carlos Ojeda signing off. Thanks to Gig'em. Have a good night.